Well, welcome to Cooking with Heart for foundational class, class 1. So I love teaching this class. This is kind of my baby class. This is the first class that I created. So when I had the dream of when I was asked to create culinary and nutrition classes that will inspire people to change and have the foundation, and then also give them delicious recipes, of course. So we're gonna have a lot of fun. That's why this is an hour and a half, because I just can't condense it, and you'll see why. So we always fill the time, right, Mark?
Yep.
So you might just hang around a little bit. That's okay. I love that. So I'm going to blow your mind on just different aspects of food, like why we eat and how flavors come together for food, and some of the amazing gifts, because there's so many things with food that are amazing that so many of us are missing out, but you're here. So I love that. We're also going to go into how to store food, a lot of this class is about you becoming confident in the kitchen so that you can cook food that you love, okay? I'm going to give you a really good start with recipes that are delicious, okay? I call them universally delicious. So, but I want you to look for ways to even make them better. And I also want you to start thinking about your own recipes, okay? Because the cool thing is there are way over 1 million ways to be super healthy, okay? And I'm not teaching you the way, okay? I want you to find your way. So, and what works today might be a little different in 2-3 years. So, but you'll have the foundation when you go through this class. So, who likes to cook? Oh, we got lots of hands. How about you, Shelby? Shelby said yes. So, well, that's great. So now who would like to be inspired to cook? Okay, we got some hands. Awesome. I appreciate the honesty. You're in the right place. Okay, because this is very different. And I hate to even call this a cooking class. So Carolyn and Mark, you can help me out here with what do we call this? And Dorothy. So because this is not just a cooking class, okay? So this is far more than that. I've started to call it culinary nutrition. I don't know. It's a lot of fun. So today we're going to do 5 dishes.
An education of better ways to incorporate into your old recipes.
Yes, I love that. Carolyn just shared it's new and better ways to incorporate in things to your recipes. So, and how you cook and how you prep. And some of you might be going, but I don't do a lot of cooking at home. That's okay. Okay. So, not 4 recipes, 5 recipes today we're going to go through. So we're going to have seared salmon. This is my ultimate favorite way to do fish. And it is the easiest. It only has 4 ingredients. Seared salmon in lemon and wine. I make this on Christmas Eve. I make this probably 2 to 3 times a month. I make it for guests. It's my go-to. It's just so easy and delicious. So we're going to do a veggie that many people shy away from. Okay, I don't want to, we all have those kind of preconceptions. So I don't want to spoil the fun and name the vegetable. We're going to do a yummy salad dressing that can be used all different ways. We're going to do a nearly instant meal. Naked burrito bowl, and it's naked because it doesn't have the tortilla. Okay, so but this one, the first time you make it, it will not take more than 10 minutes, guys. The first time you make it. Okay, so, and I have had many people from class say, I make that one all the time. It's delicious and it's so easy. It's like shocking. So, and then chewy chocolate chip oatmeal cookies, because we got to have a little, little something there to, that little treat or sweet. So, okay. Now I'm going to do like a intro kind of topic each class. And today it's about heart health. Really important, since 1 out of 3 deaths are from heart disease. Deaths are from heart disease. A few housekeeping things first. I am recording this. That is for you to review, because I do cover a lot. It's also if you have to step away, or if something comes up and you planned on being here and something came up. So we've got the recordings there. So, but it's just a lot more fun to be here online with me, or in person. So I really recommend that you clear your schedule. This is just 4 times I'm asking for. And I don't ask for a lot of work outside this class, guys. because you're going to find out in a moment you shouldn't really do a lot of work outside this class, okay, for this to work. So, but I do want you to be here. So now you signed up this class to probably, boost your health in some way. Maybe you've got some lipids that you want to change, your blood pressure, some medications you want to decrease, blood sugar control, maybe just feel years younger, yeah. So those are all good things. So, and this is all possible. And I've seen many people do these things. They don't always, get there in 4 weeks, but they're on their way, definitely on their way. So, but I also want you to get more than that from this. Okay, that drew you in, awesome. But I want you to go beyond that. I want you to go bigger than that. It's like called your purpose kind of thing, your why. So, because the goal is good, but what we find is even better our bigger purpose wise. So I have a little video that I'll send you in the email that you can, that I kind of talk about what are whys. But these are different because if you set your goal to like lower your cholesterol below 200 and you hit that, then what do? You stop everything? You just stop making changes? No, you just keep going. This is a lifetime journey. So I have changed from 5 years ago to now, and guess what? My lipid values are even better. So I feel even younger than I did 5 years ago. And I wasn't like crappy 5 years ago, but I just keep making changes. You can get better with age, guys. So, so keep that in mind because it's really important to have something that keeps you going beyond that kind of initial goal that brought you into class. So now another thing that I find is that, most of us in this room have probably been through a diet or a program or something like that. And those are well-intentioned out there, but here's the scoop on them. They work for some people for a little bit of time, okay? So they don't work for everybody for a long period of time, okay? That's the catch. And they don't tell you that. Okay, because you get excited and and things might even change. But I'm about long-term, sustainable. What can you keep with and what is going to just continue to be with you to keep you that health that you want? So this is doable. This is what we call a pattern, an eating pattern that gives you a little wiggle room. So, and this, you're on a journey. So this is not a final destination. Okay, and we're going to celebrate a lot along the way. So don't worry about that, but this is not a destination. This is a journey. It's a process so that you make every day. All these decisions you make every day impact your health. Now, it's a journey. So that assumes in there, we got learning. we got a lot of just awareness along the way too. So, now, some of you might have been on your health journey for 10, 20, 30 years and been really into this health thing. Great, awesome. Okay, so I've maybe got a little head start. I've been on this 30 years, but I'm always learning and always adding in new things. I've always got things I'm working on for my health. So, and if you're just starting out, you're in the right place. That's the cool thing about this. This is a journey that we all are living together. So, now, success stories, a couple just real quick. Jessica, you can read about her in your binder in the back there, but she was told by her doctor to lose some weight and, change her eating, maybe exercise, that kind of thing. Otherwise, get catch up with her. And she was in her 40s. She's like, yeah, but I have no time. I have a kid. I have to work. So guess what happened? Heart attack. Okay. She had a heart attack on Mother's Day. So that was her wake-up call. And so then she enrolled in the classes that you're doing here. Her insurance did not reimburse for Pritikin. So she came here. So Pritikin is our intensive cardiac rehab. That's awesome. But some insurances, unfortunately, haven't caught up. So she went through this and she lost 60 pounds. She is, in her 40s and has a 13-year-old, probably 14-year-old now, that, she knows she's going to be here for many, many years. And she feels years younger too. So that's the gift that she was given. And we get people that come through this class and intensive cardiac rehab, and they say, the heart attack was the best thing that happened to me because I've changed my life in many ways. And some people will say, I never even thought I could feel this good. So I guarantee you're going to be different in 4 weeks. Pretty cool to think about. You're never going to go back to the same person that you are right now, just as starting this. So, okay. Now I hope I haven't scared anybody. So, okay. So I do want you to put on your seatbelts because I go pretty fast. So,
And everything is.
and yeah, and Carolyn just said, she said everything is important. So we have, go ahead and raise your hand. We have Carolyn, Mark, and Dorothy. Okay. They went to the February, January series and missed the first class. So they wanted to make it up and come in person. I said, come on. Yeah, love it. So, yes. So a little bit about me. I'm the culinary instructor and I do the community culinary classes here. We have another dietitian that does the Pritikin program. And my dad, he passed away 3 years ago, heart disease. He had 23 stents. Yes, you can get up to 23. They would have done more, but he was a little frail. And he had open heart bypass at age 48. So do the math. That was years ago. He was one of the first in the Quad Cities. So I got the genes because a lot of people are like, she's got it easy, I'm sure. So I just don't put my genes in environment. Brooks, he's an honorary man. So I just don't put my genes in environment. They thrive. Sometimes people will say, like, your genes are like heart, the genes are loading the gun, and the gun can't like shoot and catastrophe unless you put it in an environment that is thriving in. A lot of people misunderstand genes, and I see it all the time. They're like, yeah, I've got the genes. There's nothing I can do. I'm like, no, I got the genes too. And no matter what you do, guys, you're going to be healthier and put off heart disease. Now, someday, I can't guarantee, I might be diagnosed with heart disease. Okay. I hope that's in my 90s, but I'll accept whenever it is, but I'll be strong. I'm going to fight it. So, just know that you're putting these things off. So, and you're going to be strong if they happen. So my mom, she has had 5 cancers. And she, on the first day, 52, I still remember that she was diagnosed with her first breast cancer. She changed her whole lifestyle. She went to vegetarian. So that she's 80, she's going to celebrate in a couple of weeks, 82. So do the math. So think about living around here 30 years ago, okay, being vegetarian. It still is a little tough, but it's a little easier. So she also became a yoga instructor at 72. She is remarried and just got back 2 weeks ago from a 3-week vacation in Australia. She has one more grandkid, but she takes, whenever the grandkids turn 15, to the bottom of the Grand Canyon back up by herself, and she walks. She doesn't do the donkeys. She walks. So, she's just decided to change her lifestyle. So she's extremely healthy at 82. So I want to be like that. And you can choose to be like that. So, okay. All right. So, let's see. I'm going to incorporate, you'll see I incorporate some what I call mindset or psychology into it, because it is more than the knowledge. Okay. You're here because you really, you want to make these changes. Okay. You can listen to a YouTube video and get the information. You can read, there's a lot of great books out there. Okay. And I read them all the time. You should see my bedside table. Okay. And I get distracted all the time online reading articles. Okay. But that's not all that you need. You also need to know how to put it into action. And so behavior change is really important to me. I actually studied with a guy in Stanford. I didn't go to Stanford, but on behavior change, because it's really important that you know how to make these things stick. So I'm going to share with you some principles that I have over and over seen consistent with anybody who makes these sustainable changes. So now I have a gift for you at the end too. If you make it through all 4 classes, I will give you a menu for a week of plant eating. Okay. Now, I'm not a big advocate of menus. A lot of people are like, just give me the menus. I want the menus. I'll pay you to make the menus. Well, here's the thing. The menu that I dream up isn't going to be in the menu for you. Okay. It needs to work for you. But these are going to be dishes to give you inspiration. And a lot of the dishes come from the classes too. So, but that's your gift if you make it through. These are 4 key principles, and I'm going to test you at the end. Okay. Test. This is the only thing I want you to like be able to say in your sleep. Okay. One is be open-minded, ready to experiment. And this also means that learning. Okay. Anybody who is looking at the bigger picture, the bigger vision, the bigger purpose, they know that when things don't go as planned, hey, I'm going to figure this out. I want to know what made it not tick and how I need to get it to go the way I want to. Okay. So you're going to like, get the wrong product at the store and get home and go, darn it, I got the wrong thing. Or this has too much salt. Or this doesn't really even taste good. So, or you're going to burn something. Okay. Or you're going to run off and not have an ingredient and go, oh, what do I substitute? Okay. Those are learning opportunities, guys. And that's being open-minded, that scientist mindset of looking for things, looking for new things that nobody else has discovered. And what you're doing here is new science, really, guys. There are millions of recipes and combinations that have yet to be discovered. My 2 girls, they're hopefully making roasted broccoli at home and sauteed tofu for dinner, because that's what I had them assign them. I gave them each one thing to do. But at home, we make a lot. We go to the Asian store, and that's one of our fun things to do is go there and we make recipes and try and make recipes from different cultures because it's fun and we learn things, but also we get new flavors. And I'm just saying all these new combinations coming together. There's so many that have been undiscovered, guys, because we've been so reliant on this processed food. And your grandparents, they were farming and they didn't have access to all the things that we had access to now. So they weren't thinking healthy. They were thinking just survive the next year kind of thing. So this is all new science that we're discovering. So open mind is really important. Everything is a learning. Just keep that in mind. So, okay, so you're going to discover a lot of gifts along the way. Second thing, and this is going to be hard for a lot of you, really hard, take baby steps. Take baby steps. And I mean that. Okay, here's what happens. I get people that are high achieving, hardworking Midwesterners, okay? And they just just tell me what to do and I'll do it. And they would. But I'm like, no, guys, okay? Because here's the thing. Normally in life, like school and work, we have a project, we have a deadline, and we just go for it. We plow through, we stay up a little late, we skip a meal. And we impress, our boss, or we get the grade, the project comes out really great. That's how we do a lot of things in life, but it does not work here. And a lot of people try that same approach. They just want to get it out of the way. Just tell me what to do. I'm going to focus on, I have the motivation right now. I'm going to do it. This is real life stuff, guys, that I want to happen in the background of your life, because you've got a really important life. And this should not drain you of mental energy. And that's what happens. It drains you when you just want to carve out time and just plow through and do it. I say that we have a lot of very successful business people and people at home, management in this world that are unhealthy because they don't get it. It's baby steps. It really is baby steps. One of the key things is to seed the behavior. Just get those roots for that behavior. Figure out the ingredients, get the ingredients in the house, figure out in the store which one. We got all these steps. And then you got to just figure out in your routine how to carve that. You want to find the right place. You might guess wrong the first time, a pilot test of it. But you've got to find that little tiny step, seeding that behavior, and then grow it so that you have more of these healthy habits, eating habits. So take baby steps. I interviewed one guy that dropped 100 points in his cholesterol, no meds. Went through this. He said the hardest thing was the baby steps. He's used to he's a high achieving guy. So I get it. So you got to take off that perfection, ambitious, achieving hat. This is lifestyle change. And even for me, I don't plow through and do it. I let it happen. I see things, any lifestyle behavior, because it should just happen almost undetected. Well, you want it to be automatic, right? You want it to be so you're not thinking about it. Even if health's a priority, that's the way it works. So it should feel like you're hardly making a change. That's just right then. Okay, so I say you want to crush it on your worst day, because we have a lot of stress, and you can't predict. You have no crystal ball to say next week on Wednesday is going to be a terror of a day. But I want you to crush it on that day, even if it is a terror of a day. And have comfort knowing, hey, I prepped this, I did this, I had that meal, that backup meal that I prepared. So all these things are things that you learn along the way. Okay, third thing, self-compassion. Self-compassion. We are wired to beat ourselves up. There's actually evolutionarily reasons for that, but be kind to yourself. I know you're a little nasty to yourself, okay? I'm a failure. I can't do anything. I always mess up. Why do I even try? Got to be self-compassion. One of the ways I can predict how well somebody's going to do is when things go horrible. They overeat, they buy the wrong thing, they burn a whole meal. What is their response? Yeah, you can get upset, okay? It's okay, but get upset and get through it. Don't beat yourself up, and do not go to shame or guilt. Okay, I overeat occasionally. But one thing I know for sure is the very next day when I get up, do not skip breakfast. I do not cut back on breakfast. I get right back in my routine. I'm telling my body on a subconscious level that I gotcha. We're going back to our good habits. And mentally, I'm telling myself, I got good habits. I just need to go back to them. No big deal. So I overate. You want to be like a good friend to yourself. How do you talk to your good friend? Okay. I use this example sometimes. I say, what if you had an 8-year-old grandchild stepping up to the plate to bat, and you had a chance to whisper something in her ear before she stepped up to bat? What would you say? You got this. Exactly. That's exactly. What's your first name?
Michelle.
Michelle. Okay. Sorry. My eyes too. Michelle. Great. You got this. You got this. Now there's going to be ups and downs, but you got this. Do not berate yourself. And the last one is have fun. This is really important. This is not just kind of frivolous. Okay. There's actually science behind it, but what's wrong with having fun? So part of it is willpower is going to wane. You might have willpower right now, like, oh, I'm so excited. I'm going to start that program. I've heard good things about it. So I'm going to, spend some time doing some delicious recipes. Yeah, great. But by the 4th week or after the program's over, the classes, your willpower is going to wane. We know that. That's what happens to everybody. Okay. So we can't depend on that. Instead, we got to find a way to make it fun. Now, I don't know if you noticed, but I have, okay. Now, this is water. Okay. In case you were wondering, it's water. Okay. So, but when you're cooking, you can have a fancy glass, you can drop a raspberry, a lemon or something in there, you make it fun, playlist. And if you don't know what a playlist, ask your grandchild. Okay. So I had my daughter send me her playlist of her 80s songs. They know me. They're like, Mom, you're so 80s. So, but that's what I love to listen to. And whoever's cooking in the kitchen can blast it as loud as they want. That's the rule in our house. Now, my 26-year-old, she'll listen to podcasts. She is podcast queen, sending me them all the time. So you can listen to podcasts, books on tape, but do something that you kind of like reward yourself for doing this, for investing in your health. So those are some ways. Some other ways are you can get a pretty plate. Next week, I'll try and remember to bring my pretty plate. And all the kids know they have to ask me my permission. And the funny thing is, we were at the Asian store this weekend, And my 21-year-old had already bought herself this pretty bowl that she uses, and we all know not to use it. So my 13-year-old, of course, she's like, Mom, I'm going to pick out a pretty bowl. So, and she wanted to go to this certain Asian store because she knew they had a better selection. So she has her special bowl with a cat in the side. So, nobody can use that without her permission. So, so find your thing that gets you excited. So, so invite somebody to cook with you. Maybe you can't do that every day, but, invite somebody. It's more fun. And sometimes they may not help with the cooking, but they can sit there and chit chat. Or you can do a phone call afterwards. Or like when I go on the weekends, I do sit down and do my menu planning. Then I go to Aldi's, then I go to Walmart, then I come home and unpack. And then I'm like, I'm going to watch 10 minutes of Netflix. Okay. So, and, just treat yourself to one series that you love. So you only do that when you're doing your health habits, your prep or your cooking or your something. Okay. If you're not crazy about being in the kitchen. Yeah, Dorothy, you want to share?
Well, isn't it a bad habit to have a window, like you say, 12 to 8, eat, and that's the only time you eat?
Okay, Dorothy's got a good question. Okay, so you're talking about time-restricted eating is what I like to call it. Some people call it intermittent fasting, different things. It's really time-restricted eating. So I don't cover that, but I'll cover it real quick. So yes, there is some benefit, we know, definitely from 12 to 14 hours of a fast. So like then 10 to 12 hours with your eating. Okay. So yes, we have good research on that. There's more and more coming out. I get a little nervous when people are telling me they're at 15, 17 hours of fasting. So just check with your doctor, especially if you're on medications and things like that. So, but also, Dorothy, you bring up a really good point too. I want you to know yourself, okay? We are all different, and you need to listen to yourself. Now, adjusting to that can take a little bit. So I try and do it, like at 7, I try and quit, and then 8:30, I don't have my breakfast before. So you can have coffee. So, but yes, 12 to 14 hours is the window. We have a lot of research to show reduced breast cancer, reduced cardiovascular disease. And it makes sense when you understand. I actually, well, I won't go to that, but your body needs to clean up. During the day, you are creating garbage. You're creating garbage right now listening to me, okay? And when you eat, you create garbage that you can't clean up in between meals, okay? And so if you think of the garbage piling up, and if you don't have that longer time of no food, then you are not taking the trash out. It's just piling up. So in the minute you have anything with like milk or sugar, your liver is going to stop. Your body's going to start going into digestion mode. Okay. So you can get away usually with coffee and tea without any sweetener in it. If you talk to most of the experts, I listened a lot to this because fasting is a big thing I'm interested in, especially when it relates to cancer and things like that. So, but yes, so great question. And I really want to emphasize with you, listen to yourself. That's where, the 12 or the 14, or if you go further, you just got to listen to yourself. Something might work for your friend, but you might not find it works for you guys. Okay. So we're all a little different. We come from different kind of ancestry, plus just we're different. Okay. So, So let's get into, a bonus, and this one really helps me, is to, instead of say, I should do this, which we do a lot of in your head, you're like, I should, I need to, say, I choose to. I choose to eat the vegetable. I choose to make changes in my eating. I choose to wash the dishes. Try it. Okay. It does help. It does help. I've tried it with the dishes. So you are choosing you and to make your health a priority now. Okay. So what comes to mind when you hear the word heart health? Exercise? Food? What food? Let's go on food. When you see heart healthy eating?
Vegetables.
Vegetables. Thank you, Dorothy.
Green
Green. Awesome.
Fruit.
Feed oil.
Well, I heard something here.
No
Fruits.
red meat?
Fruit. No red meat. Mark, did you say something?
Healthy oil.
For the oil. Oh, okay. Yes. Yes. Awesome. So, okay, these are all great things we're going to cover. Now I want to go through what happens in your body when we talk about cholesterol and things like that. So heart disease is not a simple 1, 2, 3 step, but there is kind of a trend with it. So I'm going to simplify it. Cholesterol is, we hear a lot with cholesterol. Cholesterol is a soft, waxy-like substance, and it doesn't dissolve in water. It's hydrophilic, so you can't just plop it into the bloodstream and transport it. You have to encapsulate it. So the body has done this amazing trick, and it has these things called lipoprotein packages that it transports the cholesterol. Now let me mention something that's really important. You have cholesterol in every single cell in your body. Every cell in your body has cholesterol. Yeah, why do we beat up cholesterol so much? So you need to have it. So we need to transport it throughout the body because you turn over, okay? So use it. So your liver is the primary one responsible for making these lipoproteins. And actually your liver makes usually 4 times what you eat. That's where we got it wrong in the 70s and 80s, where we said, watch your eggs, watch your cholesterol that you eat. That's not something we need to watch or learn. So instead, cholesterol is made in the liver and packaged in this lipoprotein. And in particular, it's packaged in what's called LDL, low density lipoprotein. That's the one that gets the bad rap. Okay, sometimes we call it bad. And that's just because it gets high. And when it gets high, a couple things happen that are not good for our health. But it is the transporter, is the main guy that's going around and transporting cholesterol, LDL, okay? Now, the other one that you've heard a lot about is HDL, and that's high density lipid, another package. It's just got a little different component of stuff inside, but it has cholesterol inside. And what it doesn't have as much cholesterol, but what its job is that, so the LDL starts in the liver and transports around, but while it's doing its job, it leaves off remnants, we call them, little pieces of cholesterol. And these little pieces of cholesterol can get in trouble if they kind of are left on their own. So the HDL's job is to pick them up and take them back to the liver. So the HDL is not delivering cholesterol, it's grabbing it from the bloodstream, coming back to the liver, and you're excreting or repurposing the cholesterol in the HDL. So you can see there's this nice balance once upon a time of your liver made cholesterol because you need it, and then the LDL deliver it, and then the HDL swoops up and keeps things clean in your arteries. So that's why the HDL will want high. Statistically, think about it. If you got a lot of HDL doing their job, then you're not going to have, the LDL is not even going to hit the ground, so to speak, in your arteries. They're just going to be swept up and taken back to the liver, okay? So that's the general thing of what happens, and it happened really nicely for, millions of years up until about 50 years ago. We started changing our food supply. So, okay, so let's go back to the LDL because that's where trouble happens. So LDL, there's 2 different subclasses. So there's 2 different shapes of it. There literally are shapes. And so one is big fluffy, and that's the healthy kind. And then there's the small dense one. And those are not the healthy kind, because a couple things happen. The small dense can actually sneak into any nicks, and we'll talk about nicks, in your arteries, because your arteries are supposed to be smooth and transporting the blood just really slick. But if there's a nick, then these small dents are going to be able to fit more likely in there, okay? Literally, they can. The other thing that happens is there's kind of a mood change. So the big fluffy LDL, there are hard-working guys. They keep to their role. They don't mess around. They do their work. You don't even have to watch over them, okay? They keep going. But if you got the small, dense ones, it's a little more like, I like to say, like a bunch of junior high kids let out in the hallways with nothing to do. That's your small, dense, okay? You're going to get them, showing off, hitting each other, little, knocking up. So, and they're not going to do their jobs. They're just going to goof around, okay, without direction. So that's really kind of what happens. The small, dense ones goof off, and they get in those nicks, and they like to party and invite others along. And then that nick grows and grows over time, and that's your plaque building up. So a couple things that we know that when your LDL gets above 100, we tend to see more of the small dents. So that's why that number is important. Now, your total cholesterol, not so concerned about. Mine's pretty high because my HDL is really high, okay? So if you just looked at my total cholesterol, you'd be like, ooh, Teresa. But if you looked at my HDL, you'd go, wow, I didn't even know it could get that high. So you got to look at the breakdown of things. You also want to look at your triglyceride. Triglyceride is a kind of chemical name for your body fat when it's transported in the bloodstream, not when it's sitting here, okay? So triglyceride is just a way of transporting fatty acids, okay? So we know that when your triglycerides are high, above 150, and your HDL is low, remember I didn't say LDL, I said HDL is low, you pretty much, that's a real big clue, you have what we call dyslipidemia, or in other words, you have dysfunction in your lipids, okay? And you probably have a lot of small, dense LDL just by looking at that. You have 6 times more likely a heart attack with a high triglyceride, a high HDL. Okay, so those are clues that we kind of look at now. So now I want to talk a little more about the nicks, and I have my props here, so I just need your imagination here. So yes.
You wanted me to mention the salmon at this time.
Oh, we got to get the salmon in because we're going to have salmon here. So let me run and get that. Thank you. Just going to carefully, I think we can put them in there. We've got the protein liquid, so I got to be very careful. There we go, success. And, oh, well, that one didn't quite, but it'll work. Okay, so imagination, this is your artery. So artery, you want it to be smooth, you want to be flexible, because your blood is easier to pump. Your heart pumps 60,000, or not 60, 100,000 times a day and 60,000 miles. 60,000 miles of arteries and vessels you have. So you want that as any advantage you can get. Now, there is there are inner linings here in your arteries that are really delicate, really part of this whole mechanism that keeps it flexible. And so what I did here is I put.
Please get some of that water.
Okay, go ahead, please. Make yourself comfortable, Dorothy. Yes. Oh, you're so sweet. So I put pantyhose here. It should be on the inside, but then you wouldn't see it. So I've got pantyhose here. This is really like how delicate that layer is on the inside. Okay, and it does a lot of great things, but when this gets messed up, a lot of things, it's just trickle, trickle, trickle. A lot of things happen. So what I say is, like, when you have high blood pressure, when you have these risk factors we talk about, high LDL, high blood pressure, high stress, smoke, I mean, any type of smoke. I have to define that, not just cigarette smoke, the others too. They will make nicks, okay? They will end up injuring and making nicks. So they're like, if you can imagine taking sandpaper onto the pantyhose, we all know what would happen then. We'd have to get a bottle or 2 of nail polish to patch it up, okay? So, and we end up with like this, okay, these nicks. And that's where those LDL, they're small dents, they just love these. They go in there, and then your body has this inflammatory response because it says, oopsie there, it's a wound, just like a wound on the outside. and it sends a cavalry there going, we need to heal. But guess what? For some reason, when you've got this dyslipidemia going on, you don't heal really smoothly and back to the original. Instead, it just starts building up. It's like a dysfunctional kind of healing. So you've got this building up here, and what tends to happen is you're going to build up on the inside, yes, here, but what happens is it's soft, it's unstable, so it's not got the calcification yet. And what can happen is as your blood is pumping through, it can peel back that building up blob. Think of like a pussy pimple, okay, on the inside. That's kind of like it is, and it keeps growing, and then it can eventually rupture. And the rupture, think of like a scab, a big scab here that you pick, but you don't actually flick all the way off, okay? That's kind of what happens the most of the time inside here. You get a peel back of a wound that your body was dysfunctionally healing, and now it's bigger, it's standing up. Think about it, it's now blocking more, and your body, of course, goes, oh boy, huge wound. It sends again all kinds of anti-inflammatory there that make it even much, much bigger. That's where we get blockage, 90% bigger, that kind of stuff. Now, you might have a little piece that breaks off, and yes, there's a stroke possibility, but we see it happens a little more when we're talking about heart disease, is that rupture just peels it back, then your body builds up in a crazy way because you got dysfunction going on. So that's what happens with heart disease and heart attacks and blockages, okay? So if we can stop the nicks, if we can keep the LDL from having the small dents, those are things we can do. Again, the risk factors are high blood pressure, big one there. 47% of anybody over 20 in the US has high blood pressure, 47%. High triglycerides, it's thicker blood, guys, high triglycerides. So any bit pumping 60,000 miles, you're gonna bump and make a little damage. High blood sugars, high LDL, smoke, stress has a cortisol, okay? So those are all risk factors for heart disease. Okay, so I'm going to just skip the PowerPoint and just tell it to you because we want to keep going. A couple ways that you can lower your cholesterol. So how does that translate to diet then? Okay, so now you understand the mechanics in your body. So let's understand what happens in your diet. Okay, so if you want to lower your LDL, you got to watch the saturated fat. In particular, the animal is definitely, but saturated fat overall, okay? And saturated fat is what tends to, the liver makes more than of the LDL, and we tend to see more of the small dents. Now, a little saturated fat is fine, guys. It's not none. It's just your body freaks out with high amounts because we didn't ever have high amounts of saturated fat. So a good amount we find is 10 grams. 10 grams of saturated fat or less, okay? So that's for all your meals, snacks, and beverages. Now you're gonna find a lot of things with 0, but you're gonna find some that are like 6 or 8, and you're like, whoa, I did half. And then you know, so saturated fat, sugar raises LDL. Sugar raises LDL. It also raises triglycerides. Now that sounds weird. Why you're fat in your bloodstream? Because think about it. Your body for millions of years has never seen the sugar loads that we're giving it now. It basically, I say it's like the 5-alarm fire kind of thing when you do a bolus or injection of sugar. Now a little bit in your oatmeal, that's okay. I do that. And I do real sugar, guys, okay? So that's okay. And fruit is fine. A little bit here to sweeten, but if you're just tasting sugar, okay, that's not good. Okay. So your body just freaks out and goes, oh, I am going to pack these extra calories, or even not even extra. Even if you have calories to meet, but you eat extra, if you eat a lot of sugar, like inject it, drink it, your body will convert it because it's saying, I'm going to pack this for a rainy day. This is just really weird getting all the sugar. So it will, and it'll convert it to triglycerides, transport it in bloodstream, and then plop right there, especially if you're postmenopausal. So, an LDL. So, if you want to help your LDL, olive oil, extra virgin. We'll talk more about that, but extra virgin olive oil. I don't want you to go crazy because it's calorically dense. Okay? You can get in trouble if you do too much. But we know that if you get the right type of olive oil that is mechanically pressed and not chemically pressed, in other words, bleached and deodorized, and you get the antioxidants and the original fruit stuff, the good stuff in there, then that helps your LDL. Whole grains, intact grains. We'll talk more about that next week. We'll try quinoa. So intact grains means all three layers, the germ, the bran, and the endosperm. It doesn't mean stripped and then added back like manufacturers like to do. Okay, and it's not hard to get with just a little bit of prep. So planning, basically. Okay, so that's LDL. Those are the things you can do for LDL. For triglycerides, I said sugar. Also, triglycerides, your body is looking for you eating too much, like over your caloric needs. Okay, so it's just looking for that because it's saying, I need it. I'm gonna need it for a rainy day. For millions of years, we had lots of rainy days we needed this for. So it's programmed to do that and look for that. So it's going to convert it to triglycerides and pack it. Okay, fish is going to help, and that's why we're making fish tonight. Fish is magical with triglycerides. Okay, non-fried, of course. So I think of fish like moisturizer for your arteries. It smooths the inner of the arteries. It also reduces the clotting factor and platelets that contribute to that dysfunctional kind of plaque buildup. So we just see so much better. So you want twice a week, ideally, to build up to, but if you don't have once a week, start with once. Just get it, at least a month or two under your belt of once a week having fish. And if you don't even have it once a month, let's get it once a month at least, okay? So start baby steps. Alcohol, triglycerides, some people are sensitive to. That's something you're gonna have to figure out for yourself. HDL is what we call a J curve. It's like one drink helps a teeny bit, and 2, 3, you start to go up, but not good, okay? So I'm not here to tell anybody to drink alcohol. I'm just saying this is what the research says, okay? So, okay. So you can swap out things. So start using olive oil instead of margarine or butter. Use peanut butter instead of cream cheese or a nut butter. See if you can start doing some swaps that do these things, bring out these things. So in your chili, substitute some beans for some of the meat. Instead of, a bowl of ice cream or a big cookie, can you have at least once a week a fresh fruit? Okay. Those chocolate mini donuts in the white bag? Yeah, one serving has a ton of saturated fat, guys, a ton. So instead, what if you had 2 pieces of whole grain toast with 2 tablespoons of peanut butter? Okay, at least every once in a while. If you're regularly doing these things, start to gradually transition. You're going to save 6 grams of saturated fat by that substitution.
Natural.
Natural if you can. Even transitioning to, so
it's excellent.
It tastes excellent. I have, and you want it.
It has peanuts and a little salt. It doesn't
Yes.
have the 50,000.
Yes.
More expensive, and it's oily. You have to stir it.
You have to stir it. So sometimes that gets me. So, but yeah, start where you are and transition, guys. And you don't have to take everything. Just pick those things that are easiest. So instead of sour cream, non-fat Greek yogurt. For salt, real quickly, salt is one thing that does affect your blood pressure. It's not the only thing, okay? Getting lots of fruits and vegetables with potassium actually helps a lot too. But for salt, it's going to grab onto some water. So if you have high blood pressure, we say 2,300 milligrams, no more than. And if you do not, I hope I said that the right way. If you do not have high blood pressure, it's 2,300. If you have high blood pressure, it's 1,500 milligrams a day for everything. Okay. So that is where people go into shock. So you watch out at the store when you start reading things. Some easy ways are, instead of using mixes with the seasonings added, you add the seasonings. Use some of the things we use from class. Going from instant oatmeal over just to quick oatmeal, you're going to save 270 milligrams of sodium per serving. They add the salt to quicken the cooking. That's what they do. Okay. And we're gonna start using your C in class. No added salt, beans, and tomato products. Beans, you're gonna save over 400 milligrams per serving, and with tomato products, 200 to 250. So those are some easy ways. So now in your binder, everybody should, except for you, Shelby, because I didn't mail out those that were in person. The virtual should have gotten your binder. Here we've got them. In the end of the class each week, I have an action plan worksheet. And in the action plan worksheet, at the top is a place for you to take notes. Then in the center, I suggest some action steps. So I want you, while I get ready to start the cooking, I want you to look at the action steps and start. Those are just suggested, okay? They might inspire you for something else. During when I give kind of the lecture presentation part, you might be inspired for one, but a baby step. And write it down and think about, what are the barriers? How confident am I that I can do this? Okay, do you see it there? Okay, what page? I don't have page numbers, so it's after the Naked Burrito Bowl. Oh, chocolate chip oatmeal. It's after the chocolate chip oatmeal. Okay, and I'm going to give a real quick label reading lesson, guys, because you got to keep going. But I'm going to give you a real quick one, and you need to promise me, those at home, you can grab a product real quick. You here need to use this. You've got a label reading actually handout in there, but I want to go through it because it makes more sense if I go through it. 5 things we look at in a product, a packaged product. First, ignore the front. There's a lot of leeway in what they can say, and they spend thousands, if not more than that, on trying to get you to put it in your cart. So ignore it. It's gotten me a couple times. So go to the ingredients list and the nutrition facts. So there's 5 things I look at. First, the serving size, just to say, you know, is that what I'm going to eat, or should I double it, have it? You know, they're better than they used to be, a lot better. Okay, but they don't know you. So, you know, kind of adjust it then. Go, yeah, 1/3 a cup. Okay. So then go to saturated fat. Ignore the calories. We're not going to calorie count. That's boring and tedious. Saturated fat. Again, we want to make sure we're kind of keeping track of those higher items so we're not going over 10. So you want to look at the saturated fat. Keep that in mind. Okay, this is none. Okay, good. Okay, then we're not even going to look at cholesterol, guys, because we don't need to watch the cholesterol. We just need to watch the saturated fat. Sodium is the next thing. This is where you're going to get shocked in your packaged products for the most part. Like, you know, 95% of the products in the grocery store are wailing with sodium. So keep that in mind. 1,500 if you have high blood pressure, 2,300 if you don't. If you have high blood pressure, we kind of say look at the calories and see if there's a 1-to-1 ratio. Like if it's 270 calories, you know, if it's 350, you're getting up there, but that should be okay. But if it's 700, that's really high. Okay. So it just helps you keep track. Then I usually go to the ingredients list. Now, if you like numbers, you can go to the sugar. Sugar, I don't usually go to because I'm looking at the label of the ingredients listed. But if you like numbers and want to look at the sugar, don't go to the total sugar because it's misleading because there's natural sugar. Even milk has lactose, which is natural sugar. Look at the total added sugar. And if it's 10 grams or more, then go, was I thinking this was going to be sweet? I didn't know that. That's a surprise because 10 grams tells me that's high. That's 2.5 teaspoons of sugar. Women shouldn't have more than, the recommendation is 6 teaspoons of sugar a day, added sugar. Men 9. Use the number 4 for 1 teaspoon of sugar. So if something is 12 grams of sugar, then you have 3 teaspoons. Okay, you divide it by 4. So we're looking at the added sugar though. Okay, so then I look at the ingredients list and I want to look and see if the top 3 to 5 ingredients are a sugar name, because that tells me that is really sugar in this product. That's a sugar product. So the top 3 to 5, because they're listed by weight. They're not listed by amount, they're listed by weight. So if sugar's up there, it weighs a lot in the product. So they're probably not going to list the word sugar. They're going to say sucrose, glucose, maltose, dextrose, OSE endings. Okay, and anything that sounds like sugar is sugar. Okay, honey is sugar, agave is sugar, evaporated cane sugar is sugar. Okay, anything. There's 61 to 70 names on labels that can be sugar. Okay, so I look for that, and then I look for fiber, something that's a whole grain. Don't look at the fiber amount. I look for a whole grain, intact grain, things like oats, amaranth, brown rice, quinoa. Those are intact. Now, just because it says wheat or whole wheat, not really necessarily, okay? So it's tricky. Honestly, with grains, I usually just scratch the packaged products and just make a side of brown rice, quinoa, oats, whatever it is, barley, okay? So make that and make sure this one's a quick one because it's cooked but no salt added to it. So it shortens the cooking time. So we'll play around with things like brown rice, and next week we'll make quinoa. So those are the 5 things. So I want you to practice this week. Spend a few minutes in your cupboards or at the grocery store. Okay, so time to get cooking. We're going to start with my secret vegetable, which is kale. Okay, now you don't need to turn up your nose. So we're going to learn about kale. First, I have kale right here. So a pretty bouquet here. This is how you revive kale with cold water. In the store, if it's brown or yellow spots a lot, then don't get it. But if it's just sad looking, it just needs to be revived with cold water, ice cold water, 10 minutes. So you can put it in a container or put it like this, get the stems. So now part of the problem with kale is it's bristly and it's bitter. And its bitterness is actually one of its strengths. So a couple ways that we cut down on the bitterness. We get rid of the stem. The stem is one of the most bitter parts. Okay, so how do we get rid of the stem? So, let me switch my camera then to here. Let's see.
Did you say to put it in cold water for 10 minutes?
Yes, that's what's recommended. Exactly. Let's see. Where's my... Okay, so you should be seeing. So, and I am recording, aren't I? Let me double check. Yes, okay, I wanted to make sure. Okay, so you guys are seeing my hands hopefully here. Yes, you are. So it's really easy. You just take your finger and your thumb and you go like that, okay? That's how you get rid of it. Now, it doesn't always work that smooth, okay? So if it doesn't, sometimes it doesn't come off. Well, these all cooperated. Sometimes you just need to kind of work it off. But a lot of times it just goes like that, okay? And that's much more fun than trying to use a knife around it. So, and don't tell my mother-in-law, but we're going to throw out the stems. So she uses everything. So, and then we're just gonna chop these up. You can tear them up if you want to. So, and it's about, for the recipe, it's about 7 to 8 cups roughly. It's a half a pound. You know, I don't use it. I don't have a scale. I could, but I don't. So that's kind of roughly. It just kind of, we'll see how it works that way. So I'm gonna get my discard bowl. Actually, we'll talk about this next week. Let me put that discard bowl there. Get that off. Okay, we're gonna make the dressing. So, okay, so we got rid of the stem. So we got to do some more things to get it not as bitter. And we want to brighten it up because let's make it a pretty green. So we're going to use, for the dressing, we're going to use olive oil. Okay, and this is the olive oil that I recommend. We'll talk more about it, but this one is verified as mechanically pressed. So there's some ways that we'll talk about that you can verify or look at to make sure yours is. This is pretty reasonable as far as olive oils go. Costco's is also there. Make sure it says extra virgin on the Costco ones. They have a couple different varieties, but theirs is also, I verified theirs. But this one's like, I can't remember, but it's at Walmart. Things are going up in price, everything is, but at Walmart and Hy-Vee, you can usually get this. And then apple cider vinegar. So we're gonna add some of that in there. So just apple cider vinegar, just regular apple cider. That's gonna give it a little sweeter than regular vinegar. We're going to add some Dijon mustard. So Dijon mustard is nice, just a little bit. It does have salt, but we're going to add a little bit to give some zing because kale is strong. So we want to match it with strong flavors. Strong flavors being sour apples, garlic, and Dijon mustard. Okay, those are strong things. So then I'm going to add garlic. Okay, 1.5 teaspoons. I use the jar. Now, if you're just starting to cook in the kitchen, use the jar. It saves you time. Okay, I usually use the raw, but I've been cooking for many, many years in the kitchen. So start with this, okay, so that you use it and give the flavoring. So I'm just going to mix this together. So this is my dressing. I think a little salt and pepper also calls for. So we're just going to do salt brings out flavor. It's not evil. We just do a couple shakes, and then pepper actually is an antioxidant and actually is great flavor too. So we're gonna do a little bit of that. Okay, so we give that a little more. And then this is the fun part. We are going to pour this over, and I am going to massage the kale. Okay, so if you've had a stressful day, this is great. So you can mechanically massage kale, which means break it down with your hands without anything, but it's much quicker and easier to do with either like a lemon or a vinegar. Those are going to break it down sooner. So if you were going to eat in the next half an hour, I would do 2 minutes of this to really get it rubbed through. If it's going to be a couple hours, you can toss it through, but you do want, it's nice because you get it coated all over. Now, do you notice how this is turning darker green? So, and also, this is turning more like romaine. It's not as bristly. So it's much easier on the mouth. So these are all good things that are happening. And then the flavor is really nice because we've got that garlic in there. So, okay. So we're going to we've got to get the toppings. Now the toppings are strategically chosen. So raisins are a little nice sweet touch and chewy. So, and I like to just have these as in my house because then you just use like one of these, you know, it's kind of, that's like, you know, a quarter cup. So, and then you don't have the whole thing going drying out, you know, like raisins tend to. And then the walnuts. Walnuts are super heart healthy. And they also have a little, now don't get the baking ones, okay, because those are like, they have chunks. I think I like bite somebody's fingernails sometimes, it feels like when I get the walnuts that are baking bits. So I like to get the big ones. You have to chop them up though, but they're sweeter and they're good. They have a little sweet bitterness to them. And the outside of the walnut actually is like the gems. It's the most bitter, but it has the protection. We'll talk more about that in future classes of the plants that we want. And they're just super heart healthy. So we're going to add this on. And I've got apples, sour apples. Now, I only use sour apples, green, for cauliflower salads and kale salads because that sourness matches really well with the bitterness. Now, my favorite apple to snack on is Fuji. Did you know Fujis don't turn brown because they don't have the enzyme that turns them brown? So they're crisp and sweet, and then they don't turn brown, and they're huge, so I can eat them like, you know, split them throughout the day. So, but I always use a green. Now, you're welcome to substitute an apple. I want you to start thinking how to make these recipes better for you. But that's something that I've really noted is the sour apples do so well with your cruciferous veggies. So, okay, so there we go. I did do a little lemon on my apples so that they wouldn't turn. So I'm going to sprinkle a few more. I made a little extra of the toppings because I want to make sure you all get toppings when you guys do it. Oh, and the raisins, I forgot to do those. So there we go. So look at that nice salad there. So now I love this salad. I will make it on Sunday and I will eat off of it for 3 to 4 days. And I really hope the kids don't eat it because I want it all for me. Okay. So this is one secret that I have is I make something that's delicious and I eat off of it for several days. And then I can be assured no matter how the day goes, I got a bunch of cruciferous with all kinds of great stuff in it. Okay. So that's kind of my, insurance, and it's delicious. So you'll get to taste that. So, okay, let's do salmon. Or actually, yeah. We could do, let's do the dressing real quick. This is really quick, the dressing. So this is a dressing that you can use. It's very sweet and strong because it's got mustards with it. And so it goes well with cruciferous. You don't want a wimpy vegetable with that. You want a strong vegetable. So we're using a 1-to-1 ratio of the stone ground and Dijon. Again, Dijon has great flavor. My favorite brand is Culinary Tours. I don't know why the Hy-Vee I go to has stopped carrying it because it has the lowest salt. I always look for the lowest salt in the Dijon. Usually I get the Dijon with the wine because that's the best one. And then the stone ground, this mustard you can't get in the store. This is one product I do recommend, especially for high blood pressure, that you order. It's by Westbray, and you can now order just one. You used to have to order 12. Okay, I did that once, and guess who gave him as Christmas gifts? This one has no sodium, guys. No sodium.
Dressing are we doing?
We're doing the apple. Sorry, what is it? Yeah, the apple mustard. Yep. So it's called Westbray Stone Ground. Westbray, Westbrae.
And it's in here. If you're reading.
Thank you.
I underlined it.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. What's your first name? Marla. Okay, so we're gonna put I'm making a double here, just so you know. So I want to make sure you guys got a good taste there. So we're doing our 1-to-1 for the mustard. I think the recipe calls for a 1/4 cup. And then we're just going to add a little oregano there. A little trick with your tones, guys. There's a little string that I can never find. Just by the way, I can never find it, but it's right about there. I just usually peel back a little bit of the wrapper there, and then you go, ooh, and then look at much easier to measure.
That's wonderful.
Yes, you can measure actually. So
I love the brown
only
sugar and the oatmeal, and that is wonderful too.
oh,
Not brown sugar, the cocoa.
the cocoa, yes. So we've got oregano, and then our kind of secret ingredients, but this is still sugar, guys. I don't want anybody to mislead.
Marvelous.
So-
tell all my friends.
Yes, I know. That's the way I do all my
It's
spices.
impossible with that other.
Yes,
Oh,
yes. Those little things that save your day. This is just apple juice frozen concentrate. Okay, this is just a trick for sometimes we use it for baking, sometimes we use it for salad dressings. It's still sugar, guys. Okay, and this is
do you thaw it out or do you just scrape some?
well, okay, I've had people in the class say they can scrape it. I don't know what kind of freezer they got,
Oh,
but they say they just open it and take it out and measure. I've never been able to do that.
so does
So
it keep if you thaw the whole?
no, so it doesn't. So, but what you can do is put it in ice cubes. You can take this and put it in ice cube trays. So that's what we recommend because this will grow stuff. Or you could make, I worked briefly at a prison for an internship. They do a lot of things with, yeast and oranges and apple juice and yeah. So, but we're going to use I think it's a 1/2 cup. So it is still, I don't want to mislead anybody, it's just a nice flavoring in there. And this, we're not drinking this. We're just using this to dip veggies in or A lot of people will use this and spread on fish and just cook the fish. It's a great, easy way. I mean, mustard's great with fish, garlic, lemon. Those are your secrets for, fish. So you can use it as a salad dressing or a dip for veggies. But there we go. So there it is. It's you're gonna want. I mean, it's strong, so you're gonna want to taste that. But it's great with like cauliflower, broccoli, carrots, that kind of thing to dip it and give it some zing. Now the cookies. I wanted to mention about the cookies. The secrets in the cookies are a couple things we did. I didn't go like way far because we're starting out. I just want you to get going with some ideas for some baked products. If you like baking, I can give you more kind of tips, but we used quick oats. Now, what people don't understand is quick oats is just traditional oats blended. That's it. So if you don't have quick oats, just blend up a little bit your traditional oats. Okay, that's all it is. That's why we go, okay, steel cut, then old traditional oats, then quick oats, and stay away from the instant. Okay, so but we use the quick oats so that gets some fiber, some staying power in there, and then we use. Now this happened. I figured this out because I ran out of applesauce. I was making these cookies and I used applesauce, and you notice applesauce isn't even on the recipe anymore. I just took it off because it's much superior cookie with the yogurt. Okay, so applesauce is a good substitute for oil in like sweet desserts, like half of it you can substitute. But I find biscuits and cookies, they do much better with yogurt. And I promise you, now if you taste the raw batter, you're going to taste a little bit of the, kind of buttermilk sour acid. But when they cook, it's all gone. Okay. So I'm able to get it down to 2 tablespoons of canola oil for the oil, and then just 1 egg. And I have made it with a flaxseed egg before. So eggs aren't bad, but sometimes, flaxseed is actually a great fiber source. It gives you, it's a plant omega-3. So I've done the cookies with those because sometimes actually I forgot the eggs. I was here and I forgot to get eggs.
Flaxseed in place of what in here?
The egg, 1 egg. So it's 3 tablespoons of water to 1 tablespoon of ground flaxseed. Let it sit 5 minutes, and it will bind it enough, the cookies. So, and you just drop them on parchment. They actually form. Sometimes, if I go a little gangbusters and go more than a 1/3 cup, sometimes the dough is a little thick and the cookies don't flatten. So you might need to press it down just a little bit, drop. So, but so I've got for you guys, let me open one up so you guys can see at home. Here's the cookies. I just do 2 like this, and I do this a lot. I do these cookies a lot when I'm out in the public, just because, people are a little more receptive to me talking to them if I give them a cookie. So, but here they are. These are homemade looking. They're just regular cookies and they're delicious. And every time I try and use more chocolate chips than it calls for, because I love chocolate. I actually end up with chocolate chips at the bottom of the bowl because it's like too much. It's like 3/4 cup is just right, guys. I just promise you it is. So
how much flaxseed did you put with 3 tablespoons of water?
1 tablespoon. That's an egg substitute you can use a lot of the time. You can't use it every time. It's not quite as binding as egg for everything, but it really does work. So it works in these. So you can use banana in some substitutions if you do baking, but only half. So, but I'm telling you, I'm so.
Ground flaxseed, because that's what you should use. The other's not so hot.
Okay. Yes, but I don't buy ground flaxseed. Grind it yourself. Okay. Seeds are very delicate in oil. Seeds and nuts are very delicate in oil. And
what do you buy to grind it?
Coffee grinder or blender. I have a personal blender this big, and actually I have a little cup like this big because they come with all the different cups, and I just grind it and then put like that much will last me a week because I put on my oatmeal, as you know, Carolyn.
Oh yeah.
So I put 1, but I just put it in the freezer, so I just take out and shake a tablespoon. But
you keep it in the freezer all the time.
I do. I'm just very paranoid because once the oil goes rancid, then it's not helping your body; it's hurting your body. So, yeah.
It's okay.
So, and I know online they'll say, get the ground and do this. I'm like, I know all about seeds and
It's a
nuts
coffee
there.
grinder.
Yes, you can use a coffee grinder. So those are the secrets with the cookies. You guys have all made cookies before, so, and you guys will get a taste them. So, okay, so salmon time. So, okay. Here we go. Oh wait, that's naked burrito. Where's my salmon stuff? Gotta be right here. Oh, it's right here. I didn't have another tray. Okay. So, okay. So this is a real easy recipe for you guys too. So I could do it at somebody's house off the top of my head. I've done it so many times. It's 1-to-1 ratio of lemon pepper and some other kind of, this one's called table. There's a table blend, a garlic blend that Mrs. Dash does. All these has a line, not as many as Mrs. Dash, but they have a line of stone mill. What?
What are we fixing?
Salmon.
Salmon.
So you'll see it's a half a teaspoon of each for one fillet. Okay. So if you're making, 10 fillets, it's going to be 2.5 or 2.5 teaspoons. No, my math is going to be off. 5 teaspoons then of each. So, but half a teaspoon for each fillet that you're making of each of these.
And what did you use for salt pre-seasoning their purpose?
Well, this is lemon pepper and then this is called table blend. It's just a table blend. It's like a go-to. So I did try once to use all lemon pepper because I just love the lemon pepper. And it was a catastrophe. The kids are like, Mom, what'd you do to the fish tonight? It's really strong, this lemon pepper. Okay. So just a word of caution, unless you really like your stuff really strong that way. So,
It says that here.
so let me grab my pan here so I can get that. And I'm going to do my trick instead of nonstick. I do nonstick sometimes at home for stuff, but actually more often than not, this is my trick because I'm very particular about my pans. They are not expensive, but I like my pans. So, and nonstick spray breaks down your pans a little quicker. So I just put a little bit of oil and that's basically nonstick. Okay. So I'm not against nonstick, but they have stuff in there that breaks down your pans. So I'm just going to kind of stir that there. And then I'm going to take my filet. This is from Hy-Vee. Typically, I try and pick out ones. Know that a lot of times they go like this, they're really fat in the center. So, you're going to have to go slower cooking then. So if you're somebody that likes to cook fast, you better chop that off or ask for the flattest one. Okay. So these are pretty high, but it'll work out. So I just can't get too anxious with my heat there. So I'm just going to rub it both sides. Usually I take off the skin. It's just your own preference for this because I'm pan searing and then poaching. It's going to be a little different with the skin. A lot of people like pan searing and then to eat the crispy skin. That's great, but I'm going to poach it, which is going to soften the skin. So it's fine, and the skin is good for you and all that, but some people are like, no, Teresa, I'm not going to eat the skin. So it's just like wallpaper, peel it off. In Hy-Vee, they will peel it off for you if you get the counter stuff. So, okay, we're just going to put that there. I'm going to cover it. And we're going to put that for about 7 minutes on that side. So, and I'll take a temperature. 145 for fish, 165 for chicken. So for the other secrets for this are just lemon and wine. So I just took a lemon and then let's see. Oh shoot, I have it in my office. My microplane. I have a zester that's like a ruler stick. So, and I like that one. So, but this one is fine too. That's what we have here. So, and you just zest 1 lemon. It's about a tablespoon of lemon zest. Don't get crazy with like every little part of it to zest. You just, this is about 1 lemon zested here. So, and then squeeze the lemon. Now you can use, lemon squeezer if you've got one at home, like, this, you can use that. But honestly, my favorite trick is to just put this in the microwave like 22 seconds and then take it right here or even wherever you can get it and just, it's really easy. It's really easy. It's almost, what? 22 seconds of microwave to heat it up if it goes straight from the refrigerator. Sorry, I'm going quick. I know, Dorothy, you gotta slow me down. So
22 seems like a long time in the microwave.
22 seconds, yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, from one, usually if it goes straight from the refrigerator, if you've had it sitting out, you might do like 10, 15. So just, you don't want it hot, but it will soften the inside because the microwave, the way it works, it will do that. So, so I've got a quarter cup of wine. So, and you don't have to do wine. You don't have to. The wine will lower the boiling temperature. It helps cook it. You've heard of ceviche, that's lemon. It could be wine too. Those things lower the boiling so that you kind of cook, you denature the protein. So this is a $6 bottle of wine from Hy-Vee. It's not high-end drinking, but it's drinkable. So, and, it works great. Some people will just get this and only use it for the cooking. That's fine. So whatever your preference is. But a white, you can ask the people at the, in the alcohol department what you would recommend and what your price range is, but it's all good. So now, so what we're doing is we're first pan searing. So we're getting the temperature and getting some flavor, getting some kind of cooking there with the seasoning in there, making sure the viruses are all gone. You got to get it to 145 to get the viruses gone. So if you look at the chefs online, they'll say if they poach most chefs will just either pan sear or poach. They don't do both. Well, the reason why I'm doing the pan searing is because I don't want to just poach. Because if I just poached, I'd have real trouble getting to 145. We'd be here a long time, or I might not even get it because it lowers the boiling temp. So, and what chefs will tell you online when I read it, they say 120. Well, it's done. It'll taste the same. But it does, if there is a virus, and that's very remote, but if there is, it's not killed, guys. It got to be 145. So with my background in food safety, it's like, no way, I'm not messing with that. So, so that's why we're doing this. Plus the flavor is great. It's still, so we will add this and you'll see that it'll steam. It only takes like 2 minutes to immerse the flavor because it will, when that steam creates and then you put a lid on, it's circulating and it's going inside. And so it's great. It's perfect. So now what I'm doing with the others that I put in the oven, so like if you're making it for a large crowd, what you do is you pan sear it earlier in the day and then put it in a baking pan. And usually I'll put it on, a lot of times I'll put it on top of lemon. I'll just get even extra lemons and just, slice them and put the salmon on top of the lemons, then pour the ratio of the 1 lemon squeezed and the a quarter cup of wine and put that in the pan. So it should like that much on the pan. It's not going to cover the fish. And then just let it sit in the refrigerator covered. And then now it's, dinner time. 325, 350. Now all you really need to do is just get it hot and immersed with the lemon and the wine. So it's not, we don't have to worry so much about things. So 325, a half an hour to 45, and if the guests are late or you get chit chatting and dinner's not on for an hour 15, you're going to be okay. You're not going to dry it out. So I promise you. So that's the nice thing about if you prepare several of them, you do have to earlier in the day get a, assembly line pan searing I had going here, but it only took me probably half an hour to do 11, well, I didn't have any interruptions. So that was nice. Sometimes at home you get interruptions. So, okay. So we're going to wait to flip that because I'm kind of doing that. That was thick. So I'm doing that 7 minutes and then flipping that. So the last one, we are getting close. The last one is super easy, super quick. Before I get that going in the microwave, of course.
What about cooking wine? I bet that has a lot of sodium.
Oh, it's disgusting.
Okay.
Do not use cooking wine or cooking sherry or whatever. I don't even know if they have. I remember getting that sherry once upon a time. Oh. So yeah. No, just get usually like a $5-6 bottle is perfect. Sure. So now I'd love if people would look at their action step and just share if you're comfortable with the group. We're a community that is on this journey together. So we're all supporting. It might not go as planned. We all know that, but it'll still be a gift. So if you're comfortable, go ahead, send me in the chat what you're planning on doing this next week, what baby step. And anybody here, just go ahead and shout out.
I have one question. On
Yeah.
the labels, you talked about saturated fats. What about trans fats? That's 0 and we limit.
It should be 0. They're supposed to have been without the trans. Carolyn's asking about trans. They're supposed to be gone. There is some, we definitely have trans. When you fry a food over and over, you're getting trans.
Okay.
So, and yeah, you might occasionally see it. It's not supposed to be there, so I don't even know why it would be there.
Okay.
So
And the saturated fats is supposed to be below 1.
10 for the whole day. That's
Okay.
snacks, meals, beverages.
Okay.
So you guys go ahead, send me in the chat there. I'd love to see that. I'm going to grab the call. Go ahead and shout out here. Use olive oil instead of butter. Love it.
What's saturated fat?
Watch saturated fat. So you're going to use that 10 fingers, 10 toes is what I tell in when I teach the freaking classes. So yes, awesome. Read the labels. Mark said. Okay, awesome.
What's the podium?
What?
Another thing, sort of, with this, if it's got 20,000 ingredients, you probably don't want to buy it either.
Well,
I mean,
yes, well, that's called more ultra processed when it has 20,000 ingredients. So
I mean,
yes.
You even have to have that.
Yes. Yeah. The top ones usually are Doritos and Lunchables. Those are way up there. So did somebody say something about sodium? What'd you say, Helen? Watch your sodium. So you're going to be going for 1,500 or 2,300, no more. 1,500. Awesome. So great. You're going to go into salt shock. You might need a little therapy there because there's a lot in product.
Well, sodium too, because I did have some canned soup today.
Yeah.
Outrageous, the sodium that was.
Oh, yes. Well, we're going to have some beautiful soup recipes come week 4. So speaking of which, next week, we're going to be talking, one of my favorite topics is the kitchen. How do we set up the kitchen so that we kind of fall into healthy habits to make it easier? So it's a little different than maybe, it's not outrageous, but we need to think about it differently than our grandparents did. We're also going to go into knife skills, how to sharpen, because most people don't know how to sharpen, and it's really important to have a sharp knife in the kitchen. So we'll talk about that. I'm gonna put in, I just have the cauliflower rice here for the naked burrito. I'm gonna make a double recipe for us here. So I'm gonna put that in the microwave, just in the bag real quick, get that going. And okay, so, and we got 2 more minutes on our salmon, and then we're gonna poach that. So we're already there. So, and next week we're going to do berry quinoa salad with strawberries and blueberries. And we're going to learn a secret sauce that has one ingredient that all chefs know how to make. And I'm going to teach you how to make it and not burn it. We're going to make a peanut crunchy bowl. We're making zoodles, and we're going to do a little more delicate recipes next week. These recipes are strong that we have for the most part, except for the salmon, I would say. Baby step, reduce sugar. Awesome, Scott and Linda. Try one recipe. Awesome. Check labels, Lynn. Awesome. Lynn, is there anything in particular you're looking for? You're just trying to learn the whole ninja kind of skill? Maybe? Awesome. Okay. Let me get my naked burrito, and let me get the chicken, because for the naked burrito, I'm going to ask that people here do, here it is, that you try the naked burrito without the chicken, and then you can add it after you try at least one bite without chicken, just so you can see what it's like with just, so a little bit about the naked burrito bowl. So the naked burrito bowl, I'm going to add to the beans here the seasoning, and the secret seasoning is Chipotle. It's by Mrs. Dash, so it has no salt. I don't know if all these has one, but you just want to make sure it's a Chipotle without salt. So we're going to add that to the beans here. I could heat up the beans, but the rice is going to be hot enough that it won't be necessary. So I'm just going to mix that. And now the cauliflower rice is just like, it looks just like rice, but it's cauliflower. So cauliflower is a cruciferous vegetable, strong. So we need the strong flavors to match with it, okay? Now, when you microwave the cauliflower, be careful, because if you overcook it, it's not burning, it's a microwave, what's gonna happen?
Mushy.
It's, well, maybe mushy, but yes, but what's gonna be released from it? Water. And what's in that water? Nutrients and sulfur, which is gonna make it taste stronger yet. So, so either doing it, you know, in the bag, it usually comes out, if it says, read the instructions, because some of them you can't do in the bag. But, or just be careful, don't get anxious and overcook it. If you do see a lot of water, just drain it off. Make sure you drain it off, because that's going to be strong, really strong. That's sulfur strong. So, okay, we're going to add our lemon. Well, actually, let me take my temp. I'm pretty sure I'll probably there. Yep. Okay. So we're going to add this. So can you guys at home see how it's getting that there? So I'm going to cover that. So now it's boiling there, and it's going to, you know, circulate around. So just 2 to 3 minutes and it's done. So that's all it is. Now also, I don't know if you notice, it looks burnt, right? You're like, she burnt it. Nope. I've done this many times, and yes, it looks like I burnt, but everybody clears out the salmon, okay? There's never any leftovers, okay? So don't worry about that. The blacken kind of happens because the seasoning is burning. It's not the fish that's burning, okay? So it's fine, guys. So the nice thing is you can't ruin this, okay? So, okay, so we're heating that up. Let me get a big bowl. So with cauliflower rice, you could, if you wanted a mellower flavor, you know, we're adding the chipotle. The chipotle works really nice with the cauliflower rice because we're just microwaving it. But if you roasted cauliflower rice, what would happen to the flavor? It would mellow. It would really mellow. It would not have that sulfur. It'd be much, it's completely different. So you can make cauliflower rice with cauliflower. And when we have cauliflower in a later class, it's basically just a big chunk you take on the grater and you go like this, and then you can saute it in a pan with a little bit of steam too, and it's delicious. I love fresh made cauliflower rice. So that's really nice. So, okay, so we're going to use Linda's salsa here. Linda's salsa is one of the secret ingredients because it's low in sodium. It's only 60 milligrams of sodium. Any other salsa is going to be at least double to triple to quadruple this. Okay, to buy it at Hy-Vee, it's actually made in Monmouth, Illinois. It has the boring label, so it's easy to pick up.
And it's Linda.
Linda's, just Linda's salsa. So if you can't find this, the next one that I use is On the Border or Paul Newman's. So those are around 150 to 200. Okay, so they're a lot higher than the 60. And this one has bite. It's good. And this is the mild. So we're going to add that. We're going to add some cilantro. Next week, I'll teach you about how to keep your cilantro like this for 20 extra days. So that's done. And then the other things that you could add to it, if you have them around, you don't have to, but I want you to experience avocado, super anti-inflammatory. And sometimes an avocado is really hard to get ripe. I always have like 5 to 7 in my house, but the timing is, I mean, when they're ripe, I use them. So yes. I found frozen avocado. It's amazing. Okay, I'm gonna have to check that out. Thank you for sharing, Michelle. So frozen, I mean, avocado is full of good fat, so it is calorically dense. Kind of think of it like nuts. So, but you know, that's the nice thing, it's portioned here. We're not eating a whole avocado. So, but this is nice to go on top here, or your Greek, non-fat Greek yogurt, or I've got some limes cut up. So usually this is the base, is the beans, chipotle, the cauliflower rice. That's your base. Then add and salsa, and then go crazy with what you like in your kind of, kind of Mexican meals. What do you like with them? So add that pizzazz to it. So this is called Holy Avocado. And yes, Helen, thanks for asking, because if you go in Hy-Vee or Walmart, they have this brand, Holy Avocado, but Hy-Vee for some reason has like 6 rows of guacamole and like maybe 1 of avocado. So just make sure it's avocado because the guac has salt added. So I want you to add the salt. Okay, so we've got our rice. So I'm going to open this up. And we should be about there. There we go, nice and steamy. And the first time I made this, my son, he was like 15. He's now 19 in college, and he loves white rice. You know, growing boys, they can eat like immense amounts of food. So he would eat a whole, like, I have a rice cooker. He would put on a whole batch of rice in the rice cooker and just eat it himself. So he loved white rice, and the kids are not crazy about brown rice. So a lot of times I'll make quinoa for myself as my kind of whole grain and just let the kids have their white rice. But I made this for him and he just gobbled it down and he thought it was white rice. He had no clue. So to this day, I don't think he knows. So because it has a strong match seasoning. Now, if you were to try a more delicate seasoning, somebody would know. They would taste the stronger cauliflower there. So we're just going to mix this in, and we're going to mix in, I'm doing a double, so that's like a cup of salsa here. And I'll put out the salsa. If you guys want more salsa, you can add more salsa. So this is the base. The other thing that I might do that I've started doing, and I just want to share, is I need to get in more dark greens. Dark greens are just fantastic. Now, I always have a box of spinach, you know, the clear box in my refrigerator. I usually have a dark green, but by the end of the week, I'm like, oh, I haven't had, and I'm not having it every day that I'd like. An easy way to start getting it in is just put some lettuce on the bottom and put this on top. I've started doing that. Anytime I have rice or quinoa, even fish, I'll put on top of just some chopped up romaine or spinach leaves. And just, you know, when I'm eating it, you don't even know. So you're just eating it, but you're getting a dark green in there. So that will fill you up more. That will give you a lot of dark greens, great for pollution, clearing out metals, things like that. So just a suggestion here. So, but I'm going to sprinkle on some cilantro here. And I'm going to set it out with my holy avocado. So we'll have that so that people can try it with that. I've got the chicken. The chicken, I did rub it with the chipotle. So it has some of that on it. So, and then just chopped it up. But like I said, try it without and see if you're like, well, could get used to that a little bit. But also, I want you to see, how can you make this better for you? I've had people come back and say, well, you know, my son, he likes it, but he adds sriracha. Okay, so add sriracha. So, you know, find out what you like. You want more salsa, less salsa, you know, but this is a kick. This is a kick. So if you don't like spicy, you might not go for this. But so there you go. 5 dishes we did tonight. So I hope that you're going away with some new inspiration, some new ideas. Remember, baby steps, be compassionate to yourself, open mind, and have fun. Thank you, guys. Thank you.